and it's going down. Which coaching hire deserves the highest grade and why? And Zach, I'm going to pass the mic over to you to kick us off first.
Yeah, well, so honestly, throughout the whole coaching process, if you would have I would have never thought this guy and this team would have been the hire that I give the highest grade to. But I'm actually going to go with the Indianapolis Colts hiring Shane Steichen. And I think deep down, Jim Irsay wanted to hire Jeff Saturday. You know, he brings in Saturday last year. There was a ton of outrage about it. And after winning their first game, the Colts just completely fell apart. And I think long term, that might have been a good thing for them, because I think if they would have won, if they beat the Vikings and they don't blow that 33-0 lead, I think there's a chance Jeff Saturday is the coach next year, and Jim Irsay would have had, some reason, I guess, to bring him back, saying, we won a few games with him. But I think Shane Steichen is a big time hire. And it's funny because a lot of people only know Shane Steichen for the work he did in Philadelphia with Jalen Hurts, but Justin Herbert, his offensive coordinator, his rookie year in the NFL with Anthony Lynn as the head coach, was actually with Shane Steichen. So Shane Steichen was there with Justin Herbert his rookie year when he balled out. And the reason also, and this is obviously the main reason, but the one reason I'm very confident in Steichen is when you look at everything that he did with Jalen Hurts, he turned him from a average quarterback to a guy a lot of people doubted to an elite quarterback. And I think the Colts, they've traded for just a ton of these veteran quarterbacks over the course of the last few years with Phillip Rivers and Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan. We spoke about the Bears and how we hope they don't draft a quarterback. I think this is a Colt team that is going to need to draft a quarterback. And there is still some talent on this roster. Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman. I think Shane Steichen is going to use those guys in a pretty good way. They still have some decent guys on the offensive line, still have some talent on the defense. I would go with Shane Steichen as the coaching hire that deserves the highest grade.
Yo, Zach?
Yeah, there we go. You're good.
All right, perfect. Yeah, so basically the guy that I will go with, sorry for the unorthodox intro there, but I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna say Shane Steichen, and I'm gonna give that hire a B plus. Now, the reason why that's my highest grade, it's basically how I feel about the coaching market this offseason. It's a combination of that and a combination of the attractiveness of the jobs. I didn't really feel like the jobs were attractive. Most of these guys don't have a quarterback. You can argue the one guy that has a quarterback to work with is Gannon, on the Cardinals, Kyler Murray, who we just talked about.
Here, really, right?
Yeah. You know how I feel about Russell Wilson, right? I think he's on the decline more so than the franchise guy. So I'm going to go with Shane Steichen. He's a guy that's going to call the plays from an X's and O's perspective, which kind of helps because they don't have an offensive coordinator right now. So you don't have the pressure of trying to find a guy that's going to call the plays, because all he has to do is, the preparation for the week and sitting with the quarterbacks, all the time and spending time with the quarterbacks, where you have a coach that's going to call the plays. So all you need is a guy to fit his system. And he has range. I believe he coached Phillip Rivers, Justin Herbert, like you said, and there was another guy, Hurts, basically. So he has experience with guys with different skill sets. Those are guys, all three of those guys, different skill sets. So, if you find that guy, it's range that he has. Obviously we'll see him as a coach. So I like that hire, mainly because, too, I was not rocking with Jeff Saturday. I'm sorry, with all due respect. 1-5 or 1-7?
I think 7.
1-7. Come on. We knew that was a terrible hire from the start. So I'm glad that they hired the right guy instead of going with what they felt and who they liked. Right? Because sometimes you can't hire based on who you like. I can like you as an individual. You're a cool dude. But can you run my offense? Can you call plays? Can you lead my team as a leader of men? Do I feel better about you being a coach for my team? I can like you, but you have to answer those questions. You have to check those boxes. And I think Shane Steichen does. He had a good game, in the Super Bowl. Whereas his defensive coordinator, Gannon, who got the job from the Cardinals, they got my worst grade. They got a flat out D. If I seen that Super Bowl, historically bad performance where he got out schemed and out coached, he would not be getting my job. Listen, it wasn't even close. Andy Reid took him behind the woodshed and murdered him from an X's and O's perspective. He did not make one adjustment in that game. There were things that I mentioned before where there were pivot plays that burnt them twice for 2 touchdowns in the game. And the same thing with the Jaguars. He should have been watching film. He did not make the correction. I would not hire a guy like that on a big stage like that where everybody's watching. He don't make one adjustment with that type of defense. No, I'm not doing so. So I think they got a D. I would have went Lou Amarillo over him for sure because I seen him stifle Mahomes 2 AFC championships ago, where he shut him out completely in the second half. They were down 21-3. His defense won them the game.
Don't
I
forget
seen
Josh Allen too.
exactly Josh Allen. Thank you for bringing that up because I forgot. Shut out Josh Allen. Literally made him look anemic. Even the AFC Championship game this year, the second half, they were 3 possessions back to back to back that the Chiefs did not score at all. And you can argue that flag for late hit out of bounds was the only score that they had since that 3 straight drives they didn't score. So I seen him from a tactician perspective make the adjustments from the X's and O's perspective. But this guy over here, Gannon, what he did in the Super Bowl, hell no, they get a D. But I think, Zach, before I send the rock back to you, for guys that were close to my number one behind Stain Station would be Sean Payton and D'Amico Ryan. I go D'Amico Ryan a little bit ahead than Sean Payton because simply the Broncos tell you it all. They wanted him over Sean Payton. So clearly they value the teams in the coaching market. They value D'Amico Ryan and what he can bring to a team. So I'm going to choose the number one. And also the reason why I'm not going to put Sean Payton number 1 or 2, although I know more about him, like the accomplishments, he won a Super Bowl. You would say, Lil, he should be the highest graded guy here. Yes, but no, because guess what? If you're the Broncos, it's all about the high of the team. You're not going to overpay for your third option. I'm going to give you a good grade for that, respectfully. So I'm going to go Stain Station number 1. I'm going to go D'Amico Ryan number 2. And then I go Sean Payton number 3, Frank Wright number 4. And then, yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, so just to confirm, the Colts did go 1-7 with Saturday, and I'm looking at their schedule right now. They won the first game in Vegas against the Raiders. It's funny, like everything reconnects to everything we've been talking about the show. So the Colts win that first game against the Raiders, and then people forget the next week the Colts had a lead going into the fourth quarter against the Eagles. Yeah, the same team we just saw in the Super Bowl, and the Eagles won that game barely by the skin of their teeth. 17-16. They scored 14 points in the fourth quarter. So going into that fourth quarter, the Colts were winning 13-3, and Jalen Hurts turned up.
It falls in line. All those things falls in line with what I've been preaching and what we talked about with the Raiders as well, about the term I use, fraudulent. Yeah, like it makes sense now. Now it all makes sense. But go ahead, Zach.
Yeah, and it's funny you bring up Gannon because I was just going to ask you about that and your opinion on that hire.
Terrible hire.
I compare it to this. So I remember watching the divisional round game, that classic game, 13 seconds between the Bills and the Chiefs. The Bills score a Gabe Davis touchdown. They're 13 seconds away from going to the AFC Championship game, hosting that game against Cincinnati. And Mahomes in 13 seconds, he completes a couple completions, set up a game-tying field goal, goes to overtime. We know what happened. I said after that game, there is no shot I would ever hire Leslie Frazier, the Bills defensive coordinator, to be my head coach because of that error in the biggest moment of the biggest game of the season. And I agree with you. I feel the exact same way about Jonathan Gannon. I don't know how you could hire him after that performance. And I think he's obviously going to get a lot of hate from Eagle fans. And I get why they feel that way. I think, like he's probably going to get a lot. I don't know if all of that is necessarily deserved just considering who they were playing, like Andy Reid off of 2 weeks of rest in the year 2023 in a dome. Like that's just a hard position to be in. But yeah, he got totally out schemed, totally out coached, and I wouldn't be feeling great about that hire if I were the Cardinals.
Absolutely, bro. It was a terrible hire, man. And you could argue with the Frazier thing, it was a bad play. Like it was, I won't say they shut them down the whole entire game because they didn't. They were going tit for tat. But if they would have won that game, it would have been different because it was one play that really stood out. Like it was a terrible play. Don't get me wrong. Like it was terrible, but still it was one play. This was the whole entire game. They got cooked. Every time I'm looking at the Chiefs drive, they're driving with ease. They're just literally picking them apart. Guys is wide open. Yes, they kind of did stop Kelsey in the second half, but Juju went off. Kadarius Toney went off. Yo, it was crazy, bro. It was historically bad.
Yeah, and the Cardinals, they're an organization known for making bad decisions like that, and they even, they could have gotten Brian Flores. He pulled himself out, took the Viking job. Even Mike Kafka, I think that would have been a significantly better hire than Gannon. And even before this game, like dating back to the beginning of the season, like, yeah, you're giving up 35 points to the Lions. You're giving up 30 points to Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. Like, that's a big reason why I picked the Chiefs going into this game, because knowing what those guys did against his defense, what did we think Patrick Mahomes was going to do?
Listen, man, I know if you're the Cardinals, there was a report that came out months ago that Kyler Murray was in the search party, like he was going to have say. Was this Kyler Murray? Because I don't know. Like, I don't know Kyler Murray would co-sign this. And it's funny because they got cooked in the own stadium that he's going to be coaching in.
Did he even go back to Philadelphia?
Like, yo, that's crazy, right? He get cooked in the same stadium he's going to have to be a head coach for. And Kyler Murray was a guy that had the input. He chose this because I'm pretty sure he was left out of this. Because if he chose this, then Kyler Murray, you have some explaining to do. Because if I'm him, I'm going for offensive mind. If I had input, which the report said in the coaching hire, I'm getting Stain Station. I'm getting who else? Stain Station. Maybe Kellen Moore I'm hiring. Maybe Eric Bieniemy I'm hiring. I'm getting an offensive guy. And if it's not all about offense, I'm hiring Lou. But Zach, I'm looking forward to these coaching hires. As far as how they progress with their new team, and we'll see what happens down the line, man. Especially with some of the open vacancies for the offensive coordinator positions across the league.
Absolutely. We'll see where our guy Byron Leftwich ends up. But yeah, the offensive coordinator market was pretty crazy this offseason. The coaching cycle was interesting. Sean Payton, we kind of knew he was going to get hired, but we weren't 100% sure. And it was a little quiet besides that. These hires came a little bit late, a few days after the Super Bowl. And now we could really just get excited about the offseason, because I can't wait. The offseason in the NFL, especially like May, June, that's when it really starts to get a little slow and we just keep craving football. But, the first half of the offseason will keep us busy for sure.
Absolutely. We're going to be busy next week. We're going to have some offseason lists that we're going to do. It's going to be a fun ride, Zach. I'm looking forward to continuing it with you as we progress through the summer and the spring.
That was fun.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up another episode of 99 Pod. Once again, like and subscribe to the channel, get them notifications, and we'll be back next week. Peace out.
Please like and subscribe for all the up-to-date content. You've been slinging shows left and right, slinging content left and right. Please don't miss anything. If you do, like, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a question, something you may want to answer, something you may have. All ideas are great ideas. Nothing's a dumb question.